Hi guys, I'm Sneha and you are watching my channel Book Junction. Welcome to today's video. So this one is quite a highly requested video. You guys wanted me to make a video on how I annotate my books, and here I am. In this video I'm going to share with you exactly what I do for both my fiction books and non-fiction books, how I annotate each one of them. So I think this video will be interesting and you may find some important lessons and tips in this video. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Initially when I just started this annotation thing, I used to annotate my books heavily and I used to spend a lot of time on each one of them, and that somehow affected my reading capacity. Like, I used to read really less, but I used to annotate so much, and at times that didn't even lead to anything useful. So if you're looking for annotation tips and techniques that are sustainable, that will actually be helpful, then I'm really sure that this video will be helpful. In case you find any of these things that I do useful, you can adopt them as well. So that's the whole point of this video. In no way am I trying to say that what I do is something that is ideal and that you should also do and adopt. No, nothing like that. Just take it as a video where I just share my process, and if you find anything useful, definitely take it away. So first things first, why do we need to annotate? What is this requirement suddenly? Why is everyone talking about it? Is reading not enough? Now we have to annotate as well. What is this? So of course it's not mandatory, but a lot of people annotate their books for several reasons. I think there are three major reasons that come to my mind when I think about annotating. The first reason is, when you are reading your book in the future, that is, you are rereading your book in the future, it is so easy for you to access the book. You don't have to read it from the very first sentence to the last sentence of the book. So it gets really easy for you to access that book in the future. So it's like your present self is making your future self's life really easy. So I think that is the correct expression. The second reason is when you have to participate in some book club or you have to write a book review. So when you have to participate in such book clubs or when you have to write a book review, you have to remember a lot of points in the book because you have to discuss them in length, and you need to remember a lot of things. So that is a very important reason why a lot of people annotate, and that's also a reason why I annotate heavily sometimes. And finally, people also annotate their books for the aesthetics of it, because it adds a lot of character to the book and they like their books to look really dreamy and perfect and straight out of a novel or a movie, if I may say so. And there are people who do an amazing job at making their books aesthetic. Like, they just add their personality to the books and it just makes the entire reading experience more therapeutic. So it's completely artistic when we talk about the aesthetic element. So let's talk about fiction books first, because it's very easy for me to talk about them as I don't really do anything to annotate them. So when I'm reading a fiction book, I like to enjoy it as much as possible, because that's the whole point of it. You read a fiction book to enjoy it, and of course to learn literature as well. Now initially, as I told you, I used to annotate everything heavily, but now I have realized that I just want to enjoy a fiction book. I will learn a lot, but my main focus right now is to enjoy a fiction book and nothing more than that. So when I'm reading a fiction book, I just dog ear the pages. Now I know it's a huge deal in our community. People just don't approve of it when you dog ear pages in your books, but I totally do that and it serves my purpose, and that's something that's important. I read my book, I enjoy it, I dog ear the pages that are important, and that's it. I don't see a problem in that. It's my book, I've spent my own money on it, and I think I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do with it, unless I'm really harming it, which I really don't think I'm doing by dog earing it. I think it's just so easy and convenient to do that. I will continue to dog ear my books. There's no other way I can read a fiction book. That's the way I read it, because when you are reading a fiction book, you have this flow and you are just going with the flow of the book. You're enjoying what's happening, and while reading that, if you obstruct that flow and if you start highlighting, if you start writing stuff, it just makes that process so I don't know, tedious, I guess. At least for me, I just don't have the stamina to constantly obstruct the flow of a fiction book and write things and annotate it heavily when I know that I may not come back to this later. But right now, in the present moment, it's more important for me to enjoy this book. The only thing that I do is when I come across an uncommon word, I quickly write it in the notepad in my mobile phone, and yeah, I just keep writing those words there because it's easier to type the words somewhere. Initially I used to write all those words on a piece of paper, but again it used to obstruct my reading flow, and it was just very tedious and it was not very functional. That's what I think, that's the word. So that's when I switched to my mobile app. Also, out of all the words that I store in my phone, if I find a word that is like really interesting and I would want to add it to my vocabulary and use it really often in my life, then I write those words in my tiny vocabulary diary, where I just, you know, basically record all those words so that I can use them. So now let's talk about what I do with my non-fiction books and how I annotate them. So when I'm reading a non-fiction book, I make sure that I sit with a highlighter. I highlight every important thing that I come across. Of course, you cannot highlight the entire page. You have to highlight it in a way that later when you come back to this page, you can quickly scan through this and you can quickly read the most important parts and you get the gist of it. That's how you are supposed to highlight the sentences in a page. You are not supposed to highlight everything. You're just supposed to highlight some important phrases, some keywords. So the moment you put your eyes on that paper, you know exactly what it is about, you get the gist of it. And if you want to read it in depth, then that's a different thing. But if you just want to go through it quickly, and if you want to find something, then you can quickly get to that because you have highlighted it in such a way. Now back then, like almost a year ago, I would add different color highlighters like pink, green, blue, and I would color code them. Now this may work for a lot of people, but personally it didn't work for me. It just made everything very clumsy for me and it was not a good sight. Like there's blue highlighter, then green, then pink, and when I would lay my eyes upon that page, I would just feel so confused and overwhelmed and I would not get anything. So that's when I just completely switched to using only one color highlighter. I highlight everything with only one single color and I color code my sticky tabs. Now sticky tabs are amazing. They will make your annotation process so easy and so functional. So when I highlight something really important, I quickly stick a flag over there so that I can come back to that page really quickly, and it's so functional, it's so easy to do it. Initially I used to stick the flag on the top of the page and at the same position, but now I only stick it to those parts where I have actually highlighted. So when I want to go back to a certain quotation or a certain part, I know that this is exactly the paragraph that I need to read. So that makes the entire rereading process really easy. And I color code my flags as well. I remember a few months back also, I would just go for one single color and I would stick it everywhere, but later on when you want to go back to some parts, you are just confused because you don't know where to go. You don't know which flag stands for what unless you write something on that. So I think color coding really helps. So for me, blue stands for a quotation. So if I come across a really amazing quotation that I want to read again and again, or if I want to write it somewhere in my diary or journal, then I will highlight that quotation and put a blue tab on it. So later on I can quickly come to the blue flags and read the quotations. Next, I use the green tab for relatable stuff. Now a lot of times in self-help books, I come across lessons and things that are just supremely relatable to my situation or something that I have experienced firsthand. So that is something that really connects with me. So I quickly put a green tab over there so that I can come back to that and read that whenever I want to. Next, I use a red tab for extremely important stuff. Now a lot of times we come across some lessons or some paragraphs that are just so important that, you know, even like after decades you would want to come back to it, and it's just supremely important. You cannot let it go. So I use a red tab for such paragraphs. I highlight it and put a red tab over there so that I know that this is super important and I just have to come back to it. Yellow flag stands for happy quotations or happy parts that are just, you know, very bright and sunny and sunshiny. Doesn't make sense, I know, but you know. So yeah, whenever I come across something that makes me really happy, that I know if I read at times when I'm low, I will definitely feel better, I put a yellow tab on it. And finally I use the orange tab for bitter truths and sad parts. So you know, self-help books do that to you. It brings you bitter truths and you just have to encounter them, you have to face them. So whenever I face something that makes me feel really vulnerable or sad, or something that I just didn't want to face but I have to because it's written in the book now, or it just, you know, calls me out because maybe I did something that completely resonates with something that's written in the book. I definitely confused you. Anyway, so yeah, whenever I come across something like that, I put an orange tab on that so that whenever I need reality check, whenever I need to read some bitter truths, I can come back to that part. Now let's talk about how to use sticky notes and paper prompts while annotating a book. So what you can do is, after finishing a chapter, you can stick a post-it note over there if you don't want to write on the page itself. So post-it notes are really handy that way. Stick it over there and write down all the most important points that you read in that chapter. So it will sort of summarize the chapter for you. So if you quickly want to go through the chapter, you can just go to that post-it and know that okay, in this chapter I learned these things. So it gets really easy. Trust me, I do this with really complex books, and especially when I know that I have to review this book, I definitely do it because I know if I'm reviewing it, I have to go back and reread it, and it is so handy when you know that in this chapter these are the points that are discussed in length. So definitely try this, it's so useful. Now next, let's talk about these paper prompts. Now I came across these recently and these are so good because big post-it notes are not that convenient. They are big and they usually end up hiding a lot of text, so you don't want that. So these thin strips are easier for you to write your notes on. If you come across a paragraph to which you want to add a commentary but you don't want to write it on the paper itself, so you can just add this color paper prompts over there, stick it and write your commentary. It makes everything so easy. Alright guys, so that was all for today's video. I really hope that you all enjoyed this video and found it valuable. If you did, then definitely like, share and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon so you are notified with all the further updates, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, bye bye.